Kaura TV show and entertainment a sha kallo lafiya.
Kaura ya karbi jaha.
Kaura ya karbi jaha.
Kaura ya karbi
domin na ba
Dauki guda ku kyale guda.
kawa kun san wannan da ba.
Muna layin kauran gwando a jihar Kebbi shi muka sa a gaba.
Dr. Nasir da Idris Kaura mutum ne mai tarin ladabi. Ashe? Sai ja gaba,
Ja gaba shi ne gaba.
mu da Allah mu ne gaba.
Ja gaba shi ne gaba.
Bola Ahmad Tunum,
Ja gaba shi ne gaba.
ja gaban, ja gaban,
Ja gaba shi ne gaba.
Ashwaju.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Yakubu Ahmed Ike, the Permanent Secretary, Alhaji Saidu Buhari Wara, the directors here present, the general managers, gentlemen of the press, Assalamu alaikum. You are all welcome to this medium press briefing by the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Culture. This press briefing is aimed at one introducing himself as one of our own, a member of the PEN, and also the Commission of Information, and also to reel out some of his programs for the state, and also strategies to publicize government policies and programs in Kebbi State. Before we dwell into that, I would like to invite the General Manager of Kebbi Radio to lead us in the opening prayer.
Our Imam, huh?
صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين اللهم أهدنا فيمن أهديت وآفانا فيمن آفيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة اللهم ردنا إلى دينك مرد جميل اللهم ردنا إلى دينك مرد جميل اللهم ألزمنا كلمة التقوى كما ألزمت حبيبك محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم حيث قلت فاعلم أنه لا إله إلا الله اللهم تب علينا يا تواب يا أهل توبة نصوحا لنكون من الذين إذا فعلوا فاحشة أو ظلموا أنفسهم ذكروا الله فاستغفروا لذنوبهم وما يغفر الذنوب إلا الله اللهم أتمنا بحسن خاتمة الناجين والراجين الذين قيل لهم يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله اللهم اسكننا جنة عدن وعدت للمتقين الذين دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحميدهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام بجاه سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Quickly, we are going straight into the briefing by the Honorable Commissioner, after which we are going to entertain some few questions from the press, and then we discuss. The Honorable Commissioner says.
Thank you very much. Before I read the prepared text, I would like to give a small background. As a journalist myself, as a peer consultant that has worked with some governors in the last dispensation, I feel always at home when I talk in the midst of my colleagues. This is going to be my first meeting with you, and my intention is to encourage you to see me as a friend and as a brother whom is always ready to listen to you, because I have always a problem with my colleagues who are always lazy to go the whole hog in order to find answers to questions, and thereby sometimes misleading the public and sometimes creating problems not just for the government but for the credibility of the organizations they represent. I would like to urge all of you to see us as brothers, as partners in progress, because Kebbi is a state we'll all live in, and if we make it habitable for us, we live in peacefully. If we create problems, the consequences, the conflagration that is likely to sprout out of that is going to be unpalatable to all of us. So I want to make this background information to all of you. I want to have one-on-one relationship with each and every one of you. When we open up to one another, we hardly have problems of making news credible or not. I'm honored to welcome you all to this media interaction. I would rather refer to it as an interaction because I see it as more of that than a mere media briefing. This is a gathering of professional colleagues, with one of them who just happened to be a commissioner. I call for this interaction in order to give you an insight into what manner of administration I intend to run in this my new calling. As you are all aware, the Executive Governor of Kebbi State, Comrade Dr. Nasir Idris Orangwandu, had on Friday, 18th of August 2023, performed the swearing-in of members of the Kebbi State Executive Council to formally set the machinery of governance in motion. That exercise had completed the formation of his government, and with this, all is now set to run a government that was popularly and democratically elected by the good people of Kebbi State during the last general elections. I emerge as the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Culture, and I wish to express my gratitude to the Executive Governor for finding me worthy of being saddled with that responsibility. I consider it a call to duty in the service of our dear state and in the service of the good people of Kebbi State. I will, inshallah, do my utmost best not to let either the governor or the good people of Kebbi State down. I'm confident that my antecedents as a practicing journalist and a public relations consultant, and as my pedigree as a consummate, broad-minded professional, I will, inshallah, deliver. I'm in no doubt that the task ahead of me is big and roundly challenging. I know, for instance, that the Ministry of Information and Culture requires some form of surgical operation in its composition, in staff strengthening, in digital equipment to empower it to perform optimally, in staff training and retraining, to update knowledge and strengthen capacity, and in welfare improvement and staff encouragement, to encourage them to give in their best. I'm also aware that all the megaphones of the state government, the state radio and television stations, are in need of the same dose of surgical operation in about the same quantum of attention as mentioned above. In fact, in their own case, digitalization of their operations, logistics, infrastructure and transmission equipment upgrade and calibration is almost a must if we truly desire to play our roles as educators, entertainers, and molders of public opinion. The government printing press in particular has been left to waste over the years, such that it no longer plays its traditional and statutory role and functions to both the government and its traditional customer base amongst the populace. All these problems and challenges that have reared their heads and successfully blocked the oxygen pipe of these organs have been allowed to fester, making it virtually impossible for them to breathe for survival. All the organizations that are under this important ministry, like the History Bureau, and the cultural department in the Mother Ministry have similar problems. We cannot afford to sit back and watch as they drag down the abyss of malfunction when we all know their criticality in the success or otherwise of any government. I'd like to assure you, gentlemen of the press, that I'm here to change the narratives and completely open a new chapter in the way this place is administered. I'm here to deliver, to change the mindset, to join hands with all stakeholders in the business of information generation and dissemination that will be tailored towards publicizing the activities of the APC administration of Comrade Dr. Nasir Idris Gauram Gwandu. In doing so, I will need the cooperation of all stakeholders, especially you, my colleagues. As members of the Fourth Estate of the realm, I will call on you to give me your maximum cooperation as I, in the next few days, weeks, and years, inshallah, work out a template and framework of action. My doors are open to you 24/7, and I will urge you to do your work professionally and ethically in order to team up with us to make KB better. Making KB better is a task that must be done. KB is underreported. If you leave me, my conclusions based on what I have observed, KB is Nigeria's most underreported state. Of course, reasons for this are legion. Whatever they are, I would like to assure you that with me at the helm here, all that has to change. This government is media friendly, and we are so because we do not have anything to hide. For starters, we have all seen how Governor Nasir Idris has hit the ground running from day one. One positive thing about this is that he has kept running with no evil intention of ever stopping. I'm sure the people of Kebbi State would rather have him running non-stop to the last day. He visited the abandoned State Secretariat complex and promised to prioritize its completion. Just a few days ago, that promise was kept with the signing of the contract for its completion. Bringing Kebbi the state capital, that every visitor relish in calling a glorified local government headquarters is beginning to become one huge hub of construction activity with a network of roads that should have been undertaken long ago. We have also witnessed the free distribution of the much sought out fertilizer to farmers to assist them till the land and produce the food we eat. In just under 100 days in office, even with the unnecessary distraction of election litigation and the usual thieving problems of taking over, this administration has proven a capacity of appreciation of the challenges facing the state and how to go about dealing with them. Of course, the task is huge. Kebbi is bereft of infrastructure in all areas of development. Kebbi needs to do a catch-up with its peer states. In some instances, the state needs to catch up with its junior sister states that have shot through the rooftop to the zenith of their development. With the way our governor has started, it is safe to conclude that the restoration of Kebbi to assume its proper place in Nigeria has just begun in earnest. What is urgently needed is for the good people of Kebbi State, regardless of political differences, to team up with the state government to take Kebbi to greater heights. If you consider the workload ahead of Kebbi State, in the rush to place it on the right pedestal, we as a people cannot afford the luxury of a divided house. The time for politicking has gone, and now it is time to up the ante, to push the gear and join hands to take our dear state to that level we all collectively dream and yearn of in our imaginations. With a large-hearted, open-minded, development-driven, progressively inclined and fair-minded governor, the key is the limit for Kebbi to achieve its full potentials. His love for Kebbi State is unrivaled. His quest to fulfill all his electioneering campaign promises is undisputable, and his hunger to evolve a timeless strategy of action is alive today, will be alive tomorrow, and will inshallah remain alive until the very end of his tenure. That is not to say that we are unmindful of or unaware of the need for those who may wish to criticize to do so. Constructive criticisms are integral to the survival of democracy. That is why Democrats recognize the inviolability of the right of people to oversight governments. We welcome constructive criticisms because as a Democrat, Governor Nasru Idris Gauram Gwandu respects all the ethos and principles of democratic governance. There are three categories of critics. The first group are the patriots who criticize out of genuine desire to right wrongs for the benefit of the state. Critics in this category have this commendable tendency to investigate their misgivings, critique them, and come to very justifiable and provable position. They never engage in politically motivated or in wild frenzy to want to bring down the government. Their concern is to criticize only when the allegations have been proven. While their intent is to see that amends are made for the good of the state. To this group of patriots, we welcome you and will assure you that we are with you in a common partnership to develop our state. In the second group, we have the politically motivated elements whose worldview is just to cry wolf where none exist. In their estimation, no government other than one run by their masters is good enough for the state. But even in this group, we have the patriots who restrict themselves within the boundaries of developmental political opposition as enshrined in the Constitution. We concede to them their right to also play their constitutionally guaranteed roles of opposition. But I will appeal to them to be circumspect and reasonable so that we don't, in the name of politics, throw away the baby with the bath water. Constructive engagement has always been better. Deploying tact and maturity has always paid off. Our role as a popularly democratic elected government and your role as opposition parties are all geared towards providing safeguard for the protection of our commonly shared values of democracy. To the third group of those who just choose to engage in wild and unsubstantiated allegations with the mindset to bring the roof down on everybody's head, I'll appeal to your conscience to turn a new leaf and join the government of our governor to move their state forward. Kebbi is the only state we have. We cannot afford to, in pursuit of rats, set the whole state ablaze. There is wisdom in being patriotic, even for a critic that is, or even for a critic, and that it is, and that is to look at the bigger picture of preserving a state that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has so blessed with the arable land, rivers, industrious manpower, friendly people, rich culture, and abundance of everything good. With the right leadership and a population that perseveres and stays together in unity for purpose, Kebbi is at a juncture of unparalleled service delivery and provision of dividends of democracy never ever imagined. In conclusion, I have two parts actually of the speech. In conclusion of this very one, I wish to thank you all for answering our invitation to grace this interactive session, and please feel free at the end of the second speech to answer questions, mindful of the fact that we're just resuming office and that we should restrict our questions to the level we've started, and we are just 3 months in office. So the commissioners are just days in office. But in the course of time, I'm so open that, because I love questions, I love asking questions, I love being asked questions, and I love providing answers for them. So be mindful that we're just starting. Restrict to our questions that are helpful at this material time. I would now like to reel out the few achievements that have been recorded by this government. Before doing that, I would like you to all know that Governor Nasir Idris has proved to the people of Kebbi State that he's not just a listening governor. The fact that he's home-grown one of the best schemes of ensuring that livestock are vaccinated to guard against diseases that are harmful to both human and animals. This is geared towards ensuring that the state maintains its first position, or its position as the second largest livestock producer in Nigeria. Road infrastructure. Another sector that has caught Governor Nasir Idris' attention is the beautification and remodeling of the state capital to give it a befitting facelift, with the recent award of contract worth 9.4 billion naira to an internationally recognized and reputable company, Habib Engineering Nigeria Limited. The contractor has since mobilized to site, as everybody will testify that the construction activities is currently ongoing, from Nima roundabout to NDLA to Alur Abdu roundabout and along Amadou Bello Way in Benin Kebbi, where all structures, street lights and other obstacles are being cleared to pave way for smooth execution of work. The project happened to be one of the dream projects of the governor in ensuring the state capital receives a befitting look to compete favorably with her counterparts. The contract also covers the construction of drainage system and other drainage system to ensure smooth and free flow of traffic in the state capital. Also, recently, the governor fulfilled one of his promises to civil servants in the state on the provision of conducive office accommodation, where he promptly approved the completion of the abandoned secretariat complex. The administration has longly awarded the contract to M Tech Universal Concept Limited and ZBCC Limited, all of them indigenous Kebbi State-based companies. The project is divided into Lot A and Lot B at the cost of 10 billion, with the 18 months completion period. I wish to respond to, because there have been some allegations, or rather inquiries by some people in Kebbi State about the cost of this project. Quite a number of people have expressed reservations, and I would like to, at this juncture, talk about that particular aspect. I wish to respond to some insinuations in some quarters on the cost of the awarded contract for the completion of the ultra-modern state secretarial complex along Sani Abacha bypass. These misgivings tend to question the veracity of the costing, with a section of these skeptics demanding for explanation. For the avoidance of doubt, the Kebbi State government has followed due process and has been diligently transparent in coming to the conclusion it has reached. The contract, as we all know, was awarded to Rockwell in June 2012 at the cost of 3.8 billion naira and was later revised to 7.7 billion naira, with the contractor receiving the sum of 3.5 billion naira and an outstanding balance of 4.2 billion naira. The contractor, due to market forces, requested for upward review of the contract during the previous administration. I want you to underline this: during the previous administration. At the assumption of this present administration, the contractor was, because the governor has already made his intention known to prioritize its completion, the government requested the contractor, that is Rockwell, to submit a bill of quantity for the completion of the contract. I want you to also underline this. The contract was not just revoked like that. The government demanded from the company to submit a bill of what it will take to finish that contract. The company presented a bill of 21 billion naira as the total sum needed for the completion of the secretariat. This was flatly rejected by the state governor. Subsequently, the State Ministry of Works and Transport reviewed the company's submission and came up with a bill of 10.5 billion naira, almost half of the amount given by Rockwell, half of it, for the completion of the contract to two indigenous companies, MTech Nigeria Limited and ZBCC Limited, whose submissions were reasonable and acceptable to the government. I would like to throw more light on this particular matter. The secretariat, the construction was started in 2012. To this, about 11 years after or so, it remained uncompleted. And it is a very important project for the Kebbi State government. If you go around the ministries that were scattered in the state capital, you'll see the urgent need for them to be given the environment to work. Therefore, finishing that secretariat is just very important. In any case, everybody in Kebbi has this phobia, have this aversion as to why that contract has not been completed so far. So we are all together, we are all in tandem with the need to complete that secretariat. And the governor, seeing the concern by the people, prioritize its completion. And as I said, due process was followed. At the end of the day, they made a presentation of 21 billion naira that I'm sure everybody would believe is quite unreasonable. And the 10 billion naira, to me, is reasonable considering the workload that has not been done in that secretariat. So let's look at it from this prism. Basic education. This sector is very familiar to His Excellency, who is a professional teacher, labor activist, and education-friendly governor. Since coming to power barely 3 months ago, he has approved over 2.4 billion naira for the construction and renovation of schools in 21 local government areas of the state. 86 new schools will be constructed, while rehabilitation work will be carried out on 224 existing ones. Procurement of 7,212 sets of furniture for classrooms and provision of 3 computer laboratories in schools to be fully equipped with ICC accessories and digital learning to pupils and students. In addition to wall fencing in 5 schools for security purposes, 62 toilets will be constructed in various schools for sanitary and hygiene promotion. 8 motorized boreholes, a hall, and 2 hostels for Zangaya schools will be built. The governor also approved the payment of registration fees to all indigenous students studying within and outside the country. Water supply. To address the perennial water shortage in Birnin Kebbi, the state capital, and some major towns in the state, Governor Nasir Idris has also approved the release of 92.2 million naira for the purchase of water treatment chemicals, and efforts are also being made to take this effort to other towns and villages in the state. The purchase of water treatment chemicals and other accessories for the water board is to provide potable drinking water and reduce the suffering and hardship faced by all residents of the state capital and its environs. This is part of government's campaign promises to people from 4 emirates of the state. Power sector. The governor, worried by the frequent power supply interruption in the state capital, Birnin Kebbi, as well as some major towns and villages in the state, has held series of talks with the management of the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company to discuss how best to increase power supply to Kebbi State in order to boost small and medium-scale businesses. Among many other measures taken to address the problem, the governor also directed his special advisor on power to continue liaising with KEDCO and other relevant authorities on how best to find lasting solution to the lingering power interruption in the state. Security. Worried by the frequent bandit attacks, especially in Kebbi South, government is making concerted efforts to ensure the protection of lives and property in the state. The governor has met with various security operatives in the state to fashion out ways to end insecurity. Governor Nasir Idris has paid sympathy visits to communities and victims of bandit attack across the state and assured them of government commitment and readiness to put an end to insecurity. Various support and relief materials were also provided to the victims to cushion the trauma they have gone through as a result. Empowerment. So far, over 200 million naira has been disbursed as livelihood support grant 2,000 beneficiaries in the state as part of effort of the present administration to empower the poor and vulnerable members of the society to move out of poverty. Several other empowerment programs are in the pipeline. The governor, as part of his empowerment and wealth creation programs in the state, has assured of his commitment to the exploration of solid minerals, especially gold mining and others in the state, to ensure that the youths are gainfully employed by this important sector. With a recent visit to the mining sites in Gaski local government for on-the-spot assessment of mining activities should be seen in that regard. Health care delivery. On health care delivery, the governor has promised to renovate existing primary health care centers and construct new facilities to enhance accessibility to affordable health care delivery in the state. Gentlemen of the press, we have come to the end of my prepared speech, and I hope you will ask questions that we can answer at the moment.
Thank you very much, sir, for that eloquent and articulated speech. We hope to see more of this first, then yes, Evarzian.
Your name?
Go ahead.
Honorable Commissioner, my colleagues, my name is Abdullah Tukur, the state correspondent for Radio Nigeria. Honorable Commissioner, my word of advice and request. One, we congratulate you for the appointment as commissioner in this state. Two, we are hoping, as working journalists in the state, we hope that whenever we need your attention, especially when we call you on phone, you will respond so that we verify our reports before going on air. Three, we hope that you make it available, or you give the information officers in MDAs their freedom to organize their press briefings and other activities.
Na farko da ina ma gwamnatin ga murna da ta samu idan ku suka shigo cikin ta. Dama kila dan shakkun da ke ga mutane kila rashin ganin irin tunanin kamar kila za a samu tasa. Tuna Allah ya sa kuna cikin ta. Gaskiya na tabbata mutane yanzu za su samu kwamfuta kai da abubuwa ita kuma da aka fara din. Gaskiya an fara da tafarki na kwarai. Mai girma kwamishina, da ruwan ciki ake janyo na rijiya. A matsayin gwamna ƙauran gwanda as comrade, mutane za su dubi abubuwa da yawa a kansa zai ya rage radadi abubuwan da ke tafiya. An raba taki. Rabon taki abin da wanda jama'a za su taɓa, saboda shi ne muke bukata nan mutanenmu da ba kasari manoma su yi noma don a samu abinci. Amma kamar yadda hudu farko da ruwan ciki ake janyo na rijiya. Yanzu wannan lokaci wallahi kayan Allah Najeriya an kai wani matsayin da yanzu ka hanga ba mutum komai ji daɗi abinci yake so. mun yi tunanin tunda kai memba ne na executive council yanzu wannan magana na yi digress da saboda idan ka je executive council a kawo wannan shawara yanzu abinda ake nema a buɗe rumbu mutanen Kebbi da mutanen Najeriya na cikin yunwa saboda mannan da aka ƙara ma kuɗi mutane ba su da cin abinci tsakani da Allah akwai masu mutuwa da yunwa da ciwo babu kuɗin abinci babu kuɗin magani don haka muna ba da shawara da Allah in ana son gwamnatin ya ta a gane cewa kwamre ya shigo yanzu a buɗe runguna a sayar da mu mutane abinci cikin rahusa na tabbatar da ta yi haka wallahi jihar Kebbi sai kaga an motsa ta a gane cewa yanzu kwamre ya shigo da wannan nake rufe Allah ba ku
ana maganan ba da abinci kuma maganar da nake nan yanzu ana kan maganan an bayar kowace jiha 5 biliyan naira to kaga idan aka samu kudin da abincin da ake so a fitar insha Allah za a samu saukin wannan matsala da ake ciki amma kamar nake ga maka somi ne yanzu nan as we progress in this administration at the federal level and state level na tabbacin cewa za a kawo wasu manufofi wanda za su kara taimakawa don a samu sauƙin wahala da ake ciki insha Allahu kamar da ka gami kuma zan presentation a state executive council akan wannan magana na san cewa akwai plans on ground na tabbatar da akwai su magana ce ta gwamna ya dawo yanzu ba kuma namu gwamnan ba duk sauran gwamnoni kowa zai koma jihar sa ya fara ɗaukan matakai na kawo sauƙi ga jama'a akan wannan wahala da ke ciki sai mu ta addu'a tsakaninmu da kanmu ubangiji Allah ka bani sauki Allah tabbatar da gwamnatin nan duk da yake mun san cewa manufofi ne wanda dole sai an sha wahala kamar ka kare ne yan je dora ka sai ka dinga wayo tsuwa amma tsuwan naka ba zai hana a ce a dora ka da ba kana ihun ba amma insha Allah daga ba zai warke za a warke thank you
Kaura TV show and entertainment a sha kallo lafiya.
Kaura ya karbi jiha.
Kaura ya karbi jiha.
yan jarida domin mu dan tattauna da su akan ci gaban Kebbi mu kuma nemi goyon bayan su don tabbatar da cewa an samu wannan ci gaba don jin daɗin mu da jin daɗin mazauna jihar Kebbi. Mun yi magana ne yawanci akan irin manufa da tsari irin na sabon gwamnan mu Dr. Nasiru Idris Gauran Gwandu da irin yadda ya tashi da hubbasa daga shigowarsa kamar da kuka sani ya wasu alƙawura wanda suka nuna cewa na ɗaya dai zai gama gina state secretariat wadda aka shekara 11 yanzu da fara ta kuma ba ƙare ba. Ina so dama yi magana akan ta musamman don da aka ce an soke kwangilar da wancan kamfanin Rockwell ke yi an sake ba wasu akan biliyan goma mutane da yawa sun dan nuna damuwa cewa kamar kudin ya yawa kuma na tabbatar da cewa rashin sanin abin da ke kasa a cikin wannan aikin ne. Na farko dai wannan kwangila an fara ta 2012 akan kudi naira biliyan 3 ana cikin tafiya kamfani ya nemi a kara mai a bashi miliyan 7 saboda kun sani da hawa kayaki suke hatta kai ƙarshe dai gwamnati ta zo ta nemi wannan kamfani da ya kawo cost din nawa ne za su gama wannan aiki suka rubuto wa gwamnati cewa suna buƙatar naira biliyan 21 su gama wannan aiki nan take gwamnati gaskiya kudin da sun yawa sai ya nemi kamfanin cewa zai soke wannan kwangila kuma suka ce sun yadda a soke aka soke kwangilar aka sake neman a costin nawa da gaske za a samu a karasa wannan secretariat aka da ma'aikatar ayyuka da kamfanoni aka je aka tabbatar da cewa naira biliyan 10 da yan kai zai karasa wannan aiki kai kenan samu rabi kusan da kudin da Rockwell suka basuwa. Wato ma'ana shine ana ganin gini daga waje ba wanda shiga ciki ya ga wani aiki ne saura ba gini kawai bane fa ba blog bane kawai aiki ne wanda ke bukatar abubuwa dama kafin a gama shi. Kuma abubuwan nan ku tuna da kaya ke tsada yanzu, dole ne abin da ka saya yanzu sai kai saya kusan ya ninka. Don haka mu a gwamnati muna ganin kamar an samu sauƙi ma, kuma mun amince cewa wannan sakatare tana da manufa kwarai da jama'ar jihar Kebbi. Na farko dai ma'aikatun da yawa na gwamnatin jiha suna wurare daban-daban ne. In kuka zo nan Ministry of Information ma in kun shiga gaskiya office din permanent secretary safen nan bai ma shigowa saboda ruwa ya taru ya cika. Nan yazo da muka fara aiki da shi. Ba wani office din banna wani office da bai yoyo, ma'ana kenan wannan namu kenan. Banda ma bukatar mu haɗu wuri ɗaya saboda aiki mai dinga tafiya daidai, akwai bukatar gaskiya a gyara secretary din nan saboda duk ministry gaba ɗaya su koma wurin. Na ɗaya dai an kawata gari, na biyu an mai da aiki ya yi sauƙi, sannan kuma ma'aikata su samu ƙarfin gwiwar yin aiki. Don haka wannan bayani ne saboda mutanen da ke tambayar ya za ce biliyan 10 su gane manufar, su gane inda aka fito, su gane inda ake yau kuma. Na kuma maganar ci gaban da aka samu tun shigowar shi gwamna. Mun yi maganganu daban-daban akan ci gaban da aka samu a ayyukan gona, da aka samu a hanyar ilimi, da aka samu da magana da muka yi ta cewa an ba da takin zamani kyauta domin manoma su samu sauƙi su noma abin da za mu ci. Ina son ƙara wani magana akan nan wurin. Kebbi ƙasa ce da Allah ba ya yi wa albarkar duk abin da Allah ke wa wuri na baiwa haka Allah ya wa jihar Kebbi. Muna dai da rivers gulabe, muna da matasa mutane masu lafiya jika waɗanda za su yi noma, saboda yanzu in ka tashi idan ka je Borno, ka je Gombe, daɗin kowa dam, duk inda dai akwai wani abu harka ta ruwa za ga kashi 50-60-70 na masu noma kuma kamun kifi yan jihar Kebbi ne. To me zai hana, tunda Allah ya bamu wannan muwa da ruwa din da ƙasa da matasa masu jini a jika, me zai hana a yi ƙoƙari a ba da ƙarfi a kyautata noma saboda mu samu abincin da mu za mu ci, na ƙasa za ta ci har a kai waje. Mun yi magana a kan ƙwari da tsuntsaye da ke shigowa suna barna, kuma san kowace shekara sai samu wani matsala. Wannan karon ma an samu kuma an ɗauki mataki. Na tabbatar da cewa kun san da an ɗauki wani mataki. Akwai ɗan jirgin da ya ce min dama sun yi rahoton wannan abin tuntuni. Kun dai san magana da ake ta magana abinci, cewa duk manufofin da gwamnati ke ɗauka yanzu manufofi ne wanda ba su yi amfani ba su zama wani abu ba idan ba mun a ƙasar mu mun noma abin da za mu ci ba. Ta kai mu ga ba sai mun importin abin da za mu ci ba, saboda ba ƙasar da za ta ci gaba idan duk abin da take ci sai ta kawo shi daga waje. Sannan kuma Kebbi tun a wancan gwamnati in kun tuna ta taka rawa ta gani a kokarin da gwamnati ta tare ke yi na tabbatar da cewa mun yi amfani da ƙasa da albarkacin da Allah ya mana a Najeriya, mun yi abincin da za mu ci a ƙasa. A takaice magana da muka yi kenan.
Kaura TV Show and Entertainment.
Kaura ya karbi jiha.
Kaura